So the entire internet has been calling out this major Minecraft YouTuber named Wilbur because new allegations have come out from one of his ex-girlfriends that were insanely disturbing, and I gotta say, his response to the allegations was terrible. So let's just get right into it. So if you don't know who this Wilbur guy is, he's a major Minecraft YouTuber with over 6 million subscribers. He's part of like that SMP with like Dream and tommyinnit, so he's one of the bigger Minecraft creators. And for a while there, he was dating some Minecraft YouTuber with like almost 1 million subscribers, and she just recently went on stream and started talking about allegations against Wilbur that were honestly really disturbing. So let's take a look at that.
Hear about physical abuse, I think of hitting. I think of hitting and punching. So I thought that this wasn't violent enough to be abuse. I thought that it was just like a constant accident that he kept hurting me, but he's not hitting me. And it didn't start as something that he did to hurt me. He had this habit of biting, which is so weird to me now, but he said that he had had this habit since he was a kid, and even his mom said that that was true. And he said it was just affectionate, and that might have been, I mean, I think that might have been true maybe at the start, but I also feel that I have good reason to believe that every part of it was a lot.
Now I'm going to preference this video by just saying that not only did this girl show almost no evidence, but also Wilbur later goes on to make a response with this with also very little evidence. So take either of these allegations or responses with a massive grain of salt, because so far neither of them have showed enough proof to completely convince me. However, if these allegations do come out to be true and this girl decides to make an update with more evidence, it's honestly kind of insane what she's saying. Like, I don't know about you guys, but all I can imagine is like this 27-year-old Minecraft YouTuber that has a biting problem. I mean, if this is true, Wilbur definitely isn't doing any favors to the perception that all Minecraft YouTubers are creeps and weirdos. And also, she goes on to say that apparently his mom knew about his biting problem. Like, okay, when I think of like kids with like behavioral problems such as biting, I'm thinking of like a kindergarten. I'm thinking like a grade school child. If you're 27 and you can still not control yourself around biting people, allegedly of course, that's just like some weird ass behavior.
No problem with just biting. That isn't even the most uncommon thing. But he did mention something early that I should have taken as a red flag. And he wanted to make sure that I was okay with him biting me because he didn't want me to come back later and say that he abused me, which I thought was really weird considering he had never hurt me before. And so why would I call it abuse? And why was he thinking about that? And I thought he was being sweet, checking on me to make sure that I was still comfortable. But of course I was, because he hadn't hurt me. And why would I think he ever would?
So of course this is a good step from Wilbur. The most important thing in relationships, of course, is to get consent. You know, you don't want to stop in the middle of something and maybe ruin the mood. It's always better to be safe than sorry, especially when you're in situations like this that could literally end up ruining your life or your career, that kind of thing. And even for like a normal person to make sure they have explicit consent when it goes to something as insane as like biting, like excessive biting. I think it's even more important that if you're a major YouTuber that you're going to, you know, be 100% sure about this, because of course now it's come back, it's starting to ruin his career. And at least allegedly all it would have taken was just to get consistent, you know, explicit consent, and that's it. So it's really important to do that, and it sounds like initially he got consent to do that, and so I can understand why, you know, maybe he wasn't 100% sure. But if you're not sure, man, just ask about it. And especially because it sounds like it progressively, you know, started to get worse. At least according to this girl, she's made it clear to this Wilbur guy that she wasn't comfortable with it. And so that is pretty much, of course, it's not her explicitly saying, no, I don't want you to do it anymore. But I mean, it's pretty close enough. You should be able to infer that that's like a no, I don't want you doing that anymore.
Seemed genuinely sorry, and he decided that he didn't want to keep accidentally hurting me. So we were going to use a safe word so he could learn where my limit was, where my pain tolerance ended. And saying that out loud now doesn't sound Like, that's not very sound logic. But at the time, I thought he cared about not hurting me. But in reality, it's like, why are you biting so hard? And why do you have to bite so hard? And it shouldn't be that hard of a problem to stop. That shouldn't be that hard. I realized it as this really quirky part of our relationship and was so comfortable sharing it with his friends, to the point that he would do it in front of them. He thought it was this really funny story to tell and a good bit to take my arm and bite me in front of everybody until I literally shout in pain.
And she says this happened more and more often, and apparently the biting was more and more extreme each time. Now, I completely understand if this kind of thing happens, occasionally, once, twice, maybe even 3 times by accident when you guys are like in the middle of something, maybe that's just something you can brush that off. But it sounds like, at least according to this girl, Wilbur was biting her on a consistent occasion, even in front of her friends and that kind of thing. So like even out in public, and this is just not normal behavior. Like, if this is true, and it sounds like there is a possibility this is true, of course these are allegations and neither side have given like really definitive proof, but if this is true, the implication that Wilbur felt it was just a normal jokey joke thing to bite your girlfriend in front of your friends, and to the point where apparently she's screaming, I cannot fathom what would be going through your mind in that kind of situation. I really can't. There's something potentially, at least, very wrong with this guy.
Now at this point, weaponized the safe word and was using it to ensure that I was hurt and on a constant basis. And he wasn't sorry anymore. I couldn't even tell you the last time he had apologized for doing it anymore, because now sometimes he would bite me and I would yell out the safe word because it hurt so bad, and he'd clamp down even harder, and just for a second, just for good measure, before letting go. And sometimes I'd say the safe word and he'd grind his teeth down on my skin. And sometimes he'd smile after, like a gloating grin. And during this time, I was filled with so much anxiety all the time that I was constantly nauseous, gagging daily, on occasion throwing up because of the pit that was in my stomach. I never told him about that, though. I was going and running away quietly to throw up in the toilet and rejoin our group of friends.
Now, of course, this is the biggest part of the allegation when it comes to like actually allegedly abusing her. So apparently they made a safe word so that Wilbur would know if he was doing too much, and at least allegedly she's saying that he heard the safe word and actually ignored it on multiple accounts. And if that is true, that is 100% abuse. Now, I think the real problem with these allegations is that from either side, finding proof to substantiate either of these claims, whether Wilbur actually did do all this crazy stuff or actually he didn't, from either side, it's really hard. There's a potential that the only people who actually know the truth in this situation are the two people that were involved with the relationship. However, both sides have claimed that there's like actual definitive proof, and they have for some reason not released it to the public. And that's the thing that really bothers me. When you're coming out with these really serious allegations, like physically abusing your partner, as an allegation, if you're like a major creator, is a very significant allegation, so much to the point that where Wilbur has already lost 150,000 subscribers, and pretty much the entire Minecraft community has come out against him. I mean, these are really, really serious allegations, and so you think if you were going to put this out in the public, you would want to have, real definitive proof, so even if it was true, so that all these people that might have some doubt in their mind, you could just stop their worries and show like, hey, this is definitive proof. And so of course Wilbur said that apparently there was multiple texts on different occasions of Wilbur getting consent for biting from this girl, okay, and he did not show the text evidence, which was honestly just so dumb. And then apparently for this girl, apparently there was multiple times where the biting was so hard that there was like very, very bad bruises on her and that kind of thing, and she never showed a picture of it, she never showed any evidence of it. I gotta say, not only is this girl, not the best at providing public allegations, but Wilbur is also terrible at providing evidence, for his alleged innocence. And the unfortunate thing is Wilbur decided to respond to this in probably the worst way possible. I've seen a lot of people say that this is an okay response, and I completely disagree. When someone is making major allegations against you, if you don't have proof in your response to it, it's pretty much just not worth responding to. But Wilbur decided to post this statement on his Twitter. He said, "In the past week, a series of allegations have been made over my conduct with an ex-girlfriend. I want to emphasize that although I feel it is fair to offer my perspective, this person's feelings are completely valid, and I have taken my time sharing this statement as I wanted to process and respond respectfully, and with that hope to gain a deeper understanding for the situation. During our relationship's final months, I regrettably became slavish, disrespectful, and selfish. These actions caused a lot of pain to my ex-girlfriend, and I have since sought therapy to address these behaviors, making significant lifestyle changes to rectify my past actions. I have come to realize how much my past behavior hurt this person, but I truly compassionately believe I have made great strides from the person I once was, and I hope to continue the growth in the trajectory. The allegations of abuse, particularly in the form of biting, deeply shocked me. Throughout our relationship, I understand from our numerous conversations and text messages exchanges on the subject that this behavior was consensual, playful, and receptively enjoyed. I truly believe those personal messages exchanged mutual affection and understanding. Out of respect for her, I chose not to publish then, and I emphasize my perspective is not shared to diminish or invalidate anyone's feelings. Instead, I share it in the hope that I can offer a genuine, fair, and relevant insight into my understanding of the situation. While I may perceive our interactions differently, I recognize that this person has processed and expressed feelings of hurt. I want to extend my sincerest apology for any pain that I caused. I'm fully committed to understanding and addressing her concerns going forward. I hope my perspective sheds light on the situation without distracting from its message. I'm dedicated to earning and maintaining the trust of people around me, and I hope to continue to be held to these high standards I wish to attain and maintain." So I gotta say, there was sure a lot of yapping in this response, but I think the worst part was that he said he wouldn't share the text receipts of explicitly getting consent allegedly on multiple occasions for the biting out of respect for this girl. Okay, put yourself in Wilbur's shoes. Allegedly, at least according to Wilbur, this girl is making false allegations of abuse that to him were quote-unquote deeply shocked him. Okay, and this girl is, at least according to him, making false allegations that could ruin not only his career, but potentially his life, okay? And so, out of respect, he's not going to post the screenshots where she's explicitly, allegedly said that, yeah, she's okay with the biting. I cannot fathom the thought process behind this. And of course, this girl decided to respond to Wilbur's quote-unquote apology. I'd like to address the apology. Quite frankly, I've never seen an apology so self-centered. It seems to purposely misconstrue the issue I very clearly laid out. My issue was not being bit, it was being hurt. And to vaguely apologize for any hurt while knowing we needed a safe word because I was being hurt so often by accident, and I continue to be hurt daily, is incredibly disrespectful, but not more disrespectful than even saying my name. I believe I'm referred to as ex-girlfriend, so if you don't know who he's talking about, you might not find out what he did, and this is not how you take accountability. She follows on by saying, "Not only are there no DMs whatsoever where it is expressed that I enjoy being hurt by my partner, to imply there was consent in text over an issue that entirely happened in person, where every conversation about it happened in person, is ridiculous. He knows how often I asked him to stop hurting me, that I didn't like it, and that I didn't like being covered in bruises all the time, entirely, which is why he switched to biting my legs. No one would think I looked abused." So allegedly, there's no DMs according to this girl, and that might be one of the reasons Wilbur actually never released any of these apparent explicit messages. And I do kind of agree with her. Like, this kind of sounds like an explicit thing where you get consent in person. I mean, I guess while you're doing it. However, if Wilbur came out and was like showing multiple different messages where they talked about this being an okay thing to do, then maybe I'd give him the benefit of the doubt. The only way at this point to save his career or his YouTube channel, or honestly his future on the internet at all, is if he comes out with a video with a ton of evidence that she might be lying for any reason, but honestly I'm not sure that's even possible for him. Honestly, I'm not sure about these allegations. Of course, I'd like to see more proof from either side, but I'm going to stay pretty neutral on this situation until more evidence comes out from either side. And if that happens, I'll make sure to make an update video. But that's just my thoughts. You can let me know your thoughts down in the comments.